So now let's look at the properties of surds. So the first one, let's read this one before zooming into the properties actually. So we are saying that if square root of x, right, is such that it cannot be reduced further, then it is said to be in the simplest or basic form, meaning you can't do any further calculations on that. So that is x does not contain a factor, which is a perfect square, right? So I'll talk about this shortly about how as to find the factors or actually solve a number under the square root sign. So that's what we are talking about, the factor which is what, a perfect square, which is not or contain a perfect square, right? Now, for example, square root of 2, 3, 5, and 7 are in the basic form and cannot be reduced further, because for these particular factors we can reduce them further, simply put, right? So however, square root of 24, 75, 98, and 18, and even 200 can be simplified or can be reduced further. Now we know that square root of 4 times square root of 9 will give us 2 times 3. Why are we saying this? What it means is that, hold on. Now looking at square root of 4, like we were saying, and then square root of 9, how do we get 2 and then 3? We have learned from the previous topic about the difference of two squares, how to solve that, or better so, maybe some introductory properties of indices. I don't want to go much into them when we are not there yet, but we had a glimpse of how to get an exponent of a number, especially a perfect square. So the square root of 4, it means that what number by itself will give us 4, and that will be 2. So 4 here is a perfect square. That is what it means. So a number multiplied by itself, that same number, the product that we get is what is called the perfect square. So we have 4, we have 9, we even have 25, we have 16, we have 16, 25, we have 81, and you can see the trend. So for square root of 4, that will be 2 raised to the power 2, and this is still under the square root sign. So how do we get these two? We see square here, and the sign is even called square root. So square root, the square cancel themselves, hence, so this one cancel this, and 2 cancel this one, hence 2. So that is the smartest or the simplest way, or in fact, this is how it is done. So if you don't know this, you may find it difficult, and this is done without calculator. With a calculator, you just punch it and then it gives you the answer without actually understanding as why or how it got to that answer. So on this platform, we are showing you how this is done, whereby you may not have calculator in exams hall or even trying to do this yourself. So the square root signs cancel themselves. So the square root sign and then the square, the exponent, which is 2. So they cancel themselves. The same thing is applicable to square root of 9, which gives us square root of 3 raised to the power 2. So this one cancel and this one cancel, so leaving 3. Now if you take 24, 24 will give us what are the factors of 24? We have a number of them. We have 8 and 3, we have 4 and 6, we even have a 24, we even have 1 and 24. But in dealing with surds, what your target should be a highest perfect square, right? A highest perfect square. We are looking for the two factors that will give us what? The multiple, the number under the square root sign. So instead of starting from 24 and 1, 3 and 8, that will not give you the highest factor, the perfect square, right? So if you should look at 4 and 6, right? So we can see that we have 4, right, which is the perfect square, and we have 6. So sorry for saying the highest the higher perfect square, right? So we have 4 and we have 6. This is the perfect square. So make sure one of the factors of that multiple is actually a perfect square. So 24 and 1, 24 itself is not a perfect square. If you come to the factors 3 and 8, 8 is not a perfect square. But if you take 4 and 6, 4 is a perfect square. That is the idea, right? So make sure one of the factors is a perfect square. Then the other one, you do your calculation. So having 4, square root of 4 times 6 will give us 2, because this one, making it 2 to the power 2, will cancel out, leaving 2. Then the 6 remains there, because 6, you can't do anything about it. So that's what we were talking about. So this brings us to the irrational number that we are talking about. So that is it. So let's continue with the other properties. So now what we are saying is that in general, if a and b are positive numbers, then square root of a times square root of b will give us what? ab, square root of ab. We are just multiplying the numbers under the square root sign. So we bring them together, and then that will be it. So this is introduction to the properties. So with the same idea like we said, if you have square root of 24, 4 and 6, 4 gives us 2, and then 6 remains. 75, we have 25 and 3, the perfect square that I was talking about. 25 is a perfect square. So 5, 5, you understand? So it goes away, leaving 5 there, but the 3 remains. So 5 square root of 3, 98 follows. So you can pause the video and continue, right? And solve it. It's as simple as ABC. Now, back to the main properties. The other one was just introduction, but it's the same thing about the properties. So we are saying that into bracket square root of a all squared gives us what? Square root of a times square root of a. It's a squared thing, so it gives us what? A. So this we can actually memorize. They are not difficult to memorize. If you understand, with time becomes easy. So the example has been given this way. You understand? So we are just squaring the number, the square root of that number. We are squaring it, and then you do the calculation. And then look at the example that is here. The same thing that I introduced you to when I was talking about the introduction to the properties of what? The surds. Now, property 2 is the same as the introduction that I was giving to you. So square root of a squared. This is square and that is square root. So they cancel out, giving you a. In example, square root of 3 squared, right? Cancel out. Or if you still want to continue and do the actual calculation, which is what? The square root of 3 squared is 9 square root of 9. So we know 3, 9. That is it. But if you don't want to even bother yourself doing the multiplication or multiplying it by yourself, the square root is here, the square root is there, and the square here is here. So they cancel out. If they cancel out, leaving you with a 3. Now, property 3 is square root of a over square root of b is the same thing. If you should bring all of them under the square root sign, because this is a square root sign, this is also a square root of square root sign. So bringing them together, square root of a over b is the same thing. So in example, we have square root of 6, square root of 2. If you want to go the normal way, square root of 6 over 2, we can do the division first, which will give us 3. So square root of 3 is as simple as that. You understand? So this is very simple properties to follow. In the next video, we will go into the arithmetic operations, addition and subtraction, and on what? Sets, and we'll be introduced to the monomials, more of them to come. So stay tuned to like, subscribe, share. Let's hit operation 1K so we can start coming live. We can start live, share questions, any problem that you have, we can look at them on the fly. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.